Hello, BookTube. This is Aaron from Aaron Read a Book or Aaron Read a Book, doing a very little quick tag today for St. Patrick's Day, and it's the St. Patrick's Day tag. I think there's two. Kelly's tagged me in one, Kelly from Books I'm Not Reading, so I'm going to do this one, and it was created by Taylor at Bookaflix Taylor, which is not a channel I'm aware of, so I'm going to have to check that out after. I'm not going to tag anyone as well because it is actually St. Patrick's Day right now, so it's too late. Unless you're like me and you just make a video in 10 minutes and then put it straight up. Let's go through the little questions anyway. This is only a short and easy one, I think. Your favourite green coloured book/movie? I kind of struggled with this because I don't really have that many green coloured books. If you look behind me, there's not that many. And for some reason, a lot of the green ones I do have, I haven't read, so maybe I have some sort of weird aversion to them. But I'm going to go with The Chrysalids by John Wyndham, which is my favourite John Wyndham, which is about a sort of group of creepy children with special powers that sort of freak out people. I love this one. I did used to have like a vintage copy of it that was really cool, but then someone bought me this for Secret Santa one year at our work Christmas do, and so I had two copies, the vintage one and this one, which I actually do like this one as well. But I gave my vintage one away to someone, so because I felt like I couldn't really give them it's one that I've been given as a gift. Question 2. Your favourite St. Patrick's Day themed book/movie? I couldn't think of it. Kelly couldn't think of anything for this, and I couldn't think of anything for it. I imagine there's lots of books about the St. Patrick's Day massacre, but I have not read any of them, so I can't pick any of those. I can't think of any films where the St. Patrick's Day massacre happens either. But I'm just going to pick my favourite Irish film that I can think of, which is The Guard. I will shout out The Guard, which is a John McDonagh movie with Brendan Gleeson as the lead role, and he's brilliant in it. And Don Cheadle as well. And it's about Don Cheadle's like an FBI agent that has to come over to a rural island chasing like a drug smuggling ring, and it's just he has to sort of deal with the local Irish police and their unbelievably unprofessional attitude, which is really funny. It's just a brilliant film. They also made a film called Calvary, which Brendan Gleeson again is the lead, which is about priests, which is also really good, a bit more serious but also very funny. So check those out if you like movies. 3. Corn, Beef and Cabbage, a book that made you hungry. I don't know if it's just me, but Lord of the Rings always makes me hungry. I feel like I am kind of a hobbit. I love all the second breakfasts and the way food is described in this. I really want some lembas leaf. It looks delicious in the film. But yeah, Lord of the Rings. Perhaps not. I perhaps wouldn't eat with Gollum, but everyone else in it, there's some good food. All fantasy kind of does that to me. I like the long journeys and them eating on the long journey and stuff. 4. Leaf Clover, a book or item that was a rare or good luck find. I don't have any super rare books, but I thought this one was quite interesting, which is Ian M. Banks' Accession, which turned out to be my favourite Ian M. Banks book. If you don't know Ian M. Banks, he was a Scottish writer, and he wrote books in a loose-knit series called The Culture. And he also wrote as Ian Banks, and that was his non-sci-fi, but his Ian M. Banks stuff was sci-fi. And The Culture is kind of an optimistic future of sci-fi where giant AI minds rule the galaxies, and they have ships that sort of fly around and communicate, and humans largely just live a life of leisure and don't really have much to do with the sort of the greater goings on. So it's kind of a very optimistic view of AI. But the reason I thought this was a lucky find is because I bought it and it's signed, and I didn't realise it was signed when I bought it. I just bought it from a second-hand shop. And B, later in the day that I bought this, unfortunately Ian M. Banks died, so it was very sad that he died, but it also did increase the value of the book, probably. But yeah, I love Ian M. Banks' culture series, and I need to go revisit them because I've not read all of them actually, but I'd love to reread them as well. I think the group of booktubers that are reading modern sci-fi books, people like Sean D. Sanford and stuff, and Summer, they're going to read Consider Phoebus, which is the first book in the Ian M. Banks culture series, and I almost think it's a bit of a shame that Consider Phoebus is the first book in it, because it's the most standard sci-fi out of all the culture books, and I think it has the least amount of minds in it. They're big AI minds, and they're my favourite part of the culture. But it's still a good book. It's just he was still finding his feet there, I think. Even in the second one is much more traditional sci-fi, but I love when it gets to like Succession and Looking to the Windward and stuff. That I love those books. Anyway, what's next? Irish Whiskey, a book so bad that you would need a drink to get over it. Because Kelly tagged me in this, I'm going to go with The Time Traveller's Wife, which is a terrible science fiction book that commits the cardinal sin of sci-fi and time travel books in making it boring and using this sort of extraordinary concept for dull stuff. It's basically a book about two very rich, spoiled people talking about their furniture, and just happens to have time travel in it. Yeah, load of old rubbish. Kelly's a big fan. What's next? Irish Dancing, a book so good it made you want to dance in excitement. I'm not a big dancer unless I've had a few, but one band that are always worth dancing to, and a brilliant book about them, is Bob Spitzer's Beatles biography. This is one of my favourite ever biographies. It's an absolute chunkster. But yeah, it's a beautiful, brilliant biography. I just remember from the first paragraph thinking this is going to be good. It's so well written. I really want to get his Bob Dylan book as well. But yeah, Beatles, definitely one of my favourite bands, and every other band that are in my favourite bands are influenced by the Beatles, and they've definitely got some tunes that made people dance in their time. 7. Island, a book that made you travel to a different country, travel in your mind or in real life. This is a real life one. If you watched my channel in the very early days, which I feel sorry for you if you did, because they were very awkward, but when I first joined BookTube, Mark from Book Time with Elvis, and I think it was maybe Aaron Facer and Steve Donahue, but I can't remember exact details, they were doing a read-along of this book, A Time of Gifts by Patrick Leigh Fermor, and they ended up cancelling the read-along, I think. I don't think they ever did it in the end, but I bought the book and read it anyway because I wanted to read along. I know Aaron Facer read it, and he's gone on and read the rest of this series and is a big fan. But I read this and I was a big fan, and I just loved it's Patrick Leigh Fermor. When he was like 18, he travelled from the Hook of Holland by foot to Constantinople, and this in the 1930s, just before World War II. And this book at the beginning, this is like the start of the journey. It's not all of it. I think that's in 2 or 3 books. But in this one, he travels through Germany and and some other countries, but Germany is the main one that I remember. And the way he portrays Germany before the beginning of World War II was so interesting to me, because it's a very happy, kind of friendly, happy, cheerful nation. Like there's very much people being kind to him, people dancing and singing in pubs, but then also he has these few interactions with early Nazi party people that hate that he is there, that this young Englishman is there, and it's kind of sad that this country then goes on to be the aggressor in a terrible war. And it's just unimaginable from his experience going from that to a few years later the Nazis. But it also portrays Germany as sort of a beautiful country. And after I read it, or maybe even before I finished it, I had booked a holiday to Germany. So I luckily I live like 10 minutes from an airport, and I can get to Frankfurt for like £80. And door to door, my house to Frankfurt is less than 2 hours, which is great. And I went to Frankfurt, but I didn't actually go to any of the places that he goes to in this book, because I just wanted to, just for ease, I wanted to go from Frankfurt. So I went from Frankfurt to Heidelberg, which I loved. Heidelberg, it's a beautiful, I'll put some pictures up. It's a beautiful university town, and it's just very chilled out student town, and all the people are really nice there, and it's just a beautiful place. And I was hiking a lot, and there was some really nice places to hike there. And then I went to, after that, I got the train to Freiburg. There's 2 Freiburgs. It's the Freiburg App Brissau, or whatever it's called, in the Black Forest. And that was a lovely, beautiful university town that has these weird waterway, a little stream, man-made stream all the way through it, and like students sit drinking wine and putting their feet in the water and stuff. But that's on the edge of the Black Forest as well, and there was great hiking there as well. But yeah, I loved my whole holiday in Germany, and it's a beautiful place to go hiking if you like hiking. 8. The pub, a meeting place in a book you'd like to go. I was torn on this one. I was thinking, if I had this power to go to a place in a book, I would probably use it to go to some science fiction thing. But I'm going to stick with the real world, just a slightly ambitious real world, and say Red Mars by Kim Stanley Robinson, or Green Mars or Blue Mars by Kim Stanley Robinson, which is a trilogy of books about terraforming Mars for human occupation. So I would happily go to Mars if I was asked, although I don't think they would ask me, unfortunately. I've got no transferable skills to a Mars mission, apart from I think I would be able to stay sane on the journey. I think I'd be good at that. I think I can entertain myself enough that I wouldn't go mad. So that's it. That's the St. Patrick's Day tag. Like I say, I'm not going to tag anyone because it is St. Patrick's Day, but if you want to answer the questions, put your answers below. And if you want, and if you've read any of the books and like them, tell me below. Have a good one, BookTube. Bye.